King Harris was recently reminded that wealth, notoriety, and a well-known last name cannot purchase safety in prison. The headline of A Nightmare Now features the rap prince who flaunted his father's legacy, vehicles, and chains. Video of a brutal beating in jail that was leaked sent shockwaves around the internet. Yes, you heard correctly. Now battling for his life in a prison cell is the same young man who considered himself untouchable and laughed at criticism. And his father T, the self-declared king of the South, the guy who used pride and tenacity to build an empire, is now in tears and pleading with the jail officials like a helpless bystander. The decline from tycoon to distraught father is self-evident. Here's the worst part, though. It's not simply another brawl in jail. This is larger, oh no. This is on-camera humiliation. This is 4K footage of karma. In front of millions of spectators, this family business is collapsing. Supporters are appalled. Haters are having a party. And there are murmurs in the streets. Was King Harris pushing his luck too far at last? Rest assured, though, since what you're going to hear isn't merely it's a collapse, a scandal. It's impossible to stop the internet from talking. The whole hip-hop community is suddenly holding its breath after one vicious moment and one leaked footage. Steve Seidel contacted me in an attempt to negotiate on Tiny's and T.I.'s behalf. Additionally, I informed Steve S.A. that my clients are seeking justice. As a result, Tiny and T agreed to a deal in which they confessed to the crime they committed and turned themselves in. However, if it doesn't, I would rather let the investigators finish their investigation and charge Tiny and Tia with crimes. Everyone is uttering the name. King Harris. Yes, the son of T. The child who grew up acting untouchable and showing off his wealth was suddenly reduced to a helpless, battered figure in a prison cell. Fans are being shaken to their core by the clip. However, what transpired in that cell is not the only question. In the first place, why was King there? Who actually wished to silence him? And why, as if the roles had been entirely reversed, is T now shown pleading for his son's life? Before the mayhem breaks out, let's go back in time. King Harris has always been the Harris family's wild card. King demanded attention, in contrast to his siblings who opted for more subdued lives. Unending scandals, Instagram lives, arguments, and music. For many years, he exuded monarchy and was above the law. Supporters either admired his rebellious nature or detested his haughtiness. King was acting recklessly, stomping on toes, and creating enemies that even his father's legacy couldn't shield him from. Insiders would mutter. From breaking into clubs as a minor to starting fights on Live to continuously bragging about being built for the streets, King portrayed himself as a tough guy. But the streets were listening. Real people, real gangs, real hitters who didn't care about his last name. In addition, T, the man who used to call himself the King of the South, was out here throwing gasoline on fire while King Harris was trying to maintain the family's image. Then came the arrest, which police said was due to a minor altercation, but fans knew that King wasn't simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. Rumors indicate he was targeted. The leaked footage, which is now making the rounds on all social media platforms, shows just how brutal jail politics can be. It's grainy and shaky, but it's undeniable. King cornered, fists flying, him struggling to defend himself. Fans screamed in disbelief. That's T.I.'s son. Some say it was a setup, while others say rival crews were waiting for the moment he slipped. In any case, when those jail doors closed behind him, King Harris was no longer the dazzling Instagram star. He was just another prisoner, and the sharks smelled blood. Then it exploded, and King was suddenly no longer the child of a loudmouth rapper, but rather the victim of a beating in jail that no one saw coming. The dark part, according to those close to the situation, is that the video wasn't accidentally leaked. Rather, it was a warning, a message, a way to humiliate King and his father on the biggest stage of all, the internet. Whoever released the video knew it would go viral, knew it would tarnish the Harris family name, and knew it would put T in a desperate situation. One insider said, "You don't understand." The same man who rapped about surviving hustles and traps was now making calls, allegedly pleading with officials, lawyers, and even some street figures to keep his son alive. Tip had no intention of letting his son go early. He's attempting to avoid showing up in a corpse bag. The humiliation didn't end there, though, as fans dug into King's previous misdeeds. Videos showing him yelling in restaurants, making fun of elderly people, and defying authorities all reappeared online, portraying him as a pampered child, who was finally humbled, with comments ranging from, "That boy finally got what he was asking for," to "D better get him out fast before this gets worse." However, for every fan making fun of him, there were also those who were actually concerned, because jail politics are brutal, and if King Harris was attacked once, there's no guarantee he'd survive the second time. That's when the rumors started. Was this attack random? Could this be retaliation? Could someone be using King as leverage to get a tip? One spooky comment beneath the leaked video read, "Sins of the father always find the son." Keep in mind that T is more than just a rapper. He is also a businessman, an activist, and someone who has had his share of feuds with both industry insiders and street legends. And that sparked conspiracy suspicions among fans. However, this is where things become murkier. According to sources, following the release of the leaked video, dropped, King's circumstances inside the jail changed. Guards reportedly placed him in isolation, but not for protection. Some claim it was punishment, while others speculate it was to keep him out of sight. But who wanted him to be silenced? Those inside the walls or those outside dictating the story? T is left to fight two battles: the private war to keep his son alive and the public humiliation of his family name. According to reports, he has even contacted some old contacts, names he once distanced himself from, just to make sure King survives, which demonstrates how desperate things have gotten. Then came the terrifying twist. Days after the video went viral, another clip appeared, showing T himself pacing outside what appeared to be a courthouse, clearly shaken, with his phone pressed to his ear, saying, "I can't lose my boy like this," according to witnesses. When fans learned that this was more than just tabloid drama, and that a father was witnessing his legacy being destroyed, the internet erupted once more. Brutal punch at a time. They said, "If I make it to next week, I'm lucky." The world was watching, and King Harris's story was only getting bloodier, messier, and more dangerous. Then the cliffhanger hit. A new unverified audio clip started going viral online, and it purportedly showed King Harris himself speaking from inside jail. Everything changed when the audio recording appeared. Fans weren't simply. The world now thought that T.I.'s son wasn't just attacked, but was being hunted, and if that was true, then who exactly was pulling the strings? Within hours, the internet started piecing together theories like detectives on overdrive, with some claiming that rival Atlanta crews wanted to make an example out of King to prove that no celebrity kid should be left standing. They were terrified. King Harris's own voice, trembling, exhausted, and muttering that someone inside had promised his days were numbered. Could King be paying the price for enemies his father made decades ago? But that wasn't all. Screenshots started to surface, with purported direct messages between anonymous accounts suggesting that money had been exchanged to ensure King wouldn't escape unscathed. One chilling line purportedly read, "This ain't random." Others said it went deeper, bringing T.I.'s old feuds back into the spotlight. Remember, this is a man who's clashed with Ludacris, Shawty Lo, Gucci Mane, and countless others over the years. The boy will be bleeding for the misdeeds of his father. Whether those DMs were authentic or fan-made fakes didn't matter. They fueled a frenzy. Suddenly, King's situation wasn't just a personal scandal. It was an open-season conspiracy. Meanwhile, T couldn't stay quiet any longer. Paparazzi caught him outside his studio, face hardened, refusing to answer direct questions, but muttering under his breath, "Y'all going to see real soon. Do you all find this amusing? When it's your family, isn't it funny?" Within hours, that clip alone garnered millions of views, sparking endless debate among fans. Was Tip planning a rescue? Or was he just a broken father with no control over what was happening behind bars? Reactions within the rap community were harsh, with some rappers expressing sympathy and others openly mocking King, claiming he had been waiting for this moment his entire life. Boozy Badass's comment, "Y'all can't talk gangster all day, then cry when the gangsta life knocked back," struck particularly hard. While social media was tearing itself apart, the real storm was taking place offline, with insiders claiming T was making desperate moves behind closed doors. From calling in old street debts to pulling legal favors, the man was allegedly scrambling for any lifeline to keep his son safe. One source whispered, "Tip don't even care about Bond right now. He just wants the boy breathing." Half agreed, saying King had finally been humbled. The other half argued that no young man deserved to be hunted like prey, regardless of how reckless he had acted online. Another leak. This time it was of blurry footage taken inside the facility, showing King sitting by himself with his face swollen, shirt torn, and eyes darting as if he knew the walls had ears. He didn't say anything, but the silence, which was only a few seconds long, broke the internet. While some people typed coldly he wanted street life, others flooded timelines with calls to protect King Harris. He's living it now. However, why this footage was circulating at all was still a mystery, given jails typically crack down hard on illegally obtained phones. But all of a sudden, the public was seeing clip after clip of King Harris, and some started to suspect that the videos weren't being released by inmates, but rather by outsiders with influence who wanted to embarrass the Harris family. The leaks weren't random. They were chess moves, and then the unimaginable occurred. A voice note from an anonymous account claiming to be connected to the jail appeared on Twitter, and the low, distorted voice said, "This boy ain't supposed to leave here. You understand me? This isn't about King. It's about sending a message." The internet went crazy. What message? To whom? Why target T.I.'s son? Even King's detractors started supporting him for the first time because this was about life and death, not arrogance or Instagram lives. The rumors only got louder. Someone powerful wanted to ruin the Harris name. "He's not perfect, y'all, but he's mine and he don't deserve this," Tiny T.I.'s wife said in a shaky Instagram live, breaking her silence and pleading with fans to pray for her kid while crying. "Just say a prayer, please." The Harris family, who for years were viewed as an unbreakable power couple in reality TV dynasty, appeared broken, desperate, and cornered in that live stream, shattering hearts. However, the more emotional they grew, the more venomous the internet became, and memes began to circulate. At the height of the chaos, a new leak surfaced, this time not a video or audio, but a letter purportedly written by King himself from solitary confinement. The handwriting was sloppy, the words frantic, And one line sent a shockwave through the internet as trolls made fun of King's swollen face, and hashtags like #freaking turned into #KingGotHumbled. And T.I. Insiders say he broke down after reading that letter. One report even claimed he smashed a phone against the wall, screaming that he wouldn't let his son die like this. Whether that is true or exaggerated, fans believed it. That one line turned everything upside down. If it was true, it confirmed what fans already feared. King Harris wasn't just caught in jail politics, he was a marked man. As the storm continued, it became harder to distinguish between truth and rumor, leak and lie, but one thing was certain. King Harris's life was in jeopardy, and with every new leak, the tension increased, the clock grew louder, and the fear of a tragic headline drew closer. And that's when the biggest bombshell came. A new clip leaked online, darker and more unsettling than anything before. The image of T, the tough Southern legend, breaking down over his son was ingrained in everyone's mind. Almost unrecognizable, King Harris whispers to the camera, "They told me this wasn't about me anymore. This relates to my father. You had better let him know." Because if King was telling the truth, this wasn't just about survival. It was a fight, a war against T himself. That last whisper sent shockwaves through the culture, and King Harris wasn't just afraid for his life. The screen darkened, the clip ended, and fans screamed in horror. It was a war against T himself. The internet exploded when that video went viral. What does he mean it's about Tip? Who is responsible? Theories ran wild. Some claimed rival record executives wanted to destroy the Harris legacy, while others said the feds were punishing T.I. for secrets he had kept hidden for decades. The most outrageous theory of all was that T.I.'s own industry friends had turned against him, using his son as collateral damage in a larger power struggle. According to insiders, T.I. was meeting with politicians, lawyers, and even former adversaries in an attempt to put the pieces together. Tip ain't never looked this broken, one purported source stated, indicating that the Harris family's focus had shifted from survival to expose. He has no faith in anyone. He always looks over his shoulder during phone conversations and handshakes. Once invincible, the Atlantis King image has now been reduced to paranoia. It was devastating. Meanwhile, the leaks from the detention house continued. One more video dropped depicting King being placed in seclusion for his safety, but the fans didn't believe it. His eyes had that vacant expression of someone who had witnessed too much. His face was bruised and his voice was gone. Simply put, the caption beneath the leak said, "Too late." As if that weren't enough, a fresh anonymous web report claimed that money had been transferred between jail officers and outside parties. The purported agreement to ensure King Harris did not escape unharmed. Fans believed it whether it was true or not, because nothing seemed too absurd at this point. Even famous people who had previously remained silent now started to speak up. The tone was altered when trolling artist 50 Cent stunned fans with the tweet, "This one different. That boy in danger. Somebody better move quick." It had lost its humor. It was gravely severe. Then the unexpected turn of events occurred. Reddit revealed a hacked email thread purportedly from a private investigator the Harris family had hired. According to the investigator, identified a rival Hollywood tycoon as the source of the leaks. The thread didn't disclose the name. Although it was blacked out, fans' guesses were wild. Jay-Z, Diddy, and even former T.I. rivals. The flames was only stoked by the mystery. However, T was reportedly losing it as fans played detective. He reportedly demanded intervention when he unexpectedly showed up at the governor's office. Whether that incident actually occurred or not, one witness said he slammed his fist against a desk and said, "If my boy dies in there, the blood's on your hands." It didn't matter. It presented the ideal picture of a distressed father battling an insurmountable system. The dread of the internet then materialized. Late one night, a hashtag started going viral all across the world. Hashtag prayerforking. There were wild rumors that King Harris had been discovered in a jail, unconscious. Only rumors, fear, and confusion. No formal announcement, no confirmation. Social media was inundated with fans. The Harris family remained silent while others prayed, made fun of, and demanded explanations. Days and hours went by. The world was kept in suspense. T finally spoke up with a mysterious Instagram post. One caption, a black screen. "It's not over yet." King's condition was not mentioned. 3 words that ignited the internet. No further explanation. Why wasn't it over? King's story, the battle, or the cover-up? Fans were no longer sure what to believe at this time. Was King still living? Was all of this a massive setup? Or was T preparing a retaliation that would rock the industry to its foundations? According to several blogs, King was discreetly moved to a more secure institution. He was in critical condition, according to others. Then there were those who vowed that the Harris family was concealing something far more significant, something that extended beyond music, politics, and fighting in jail. Answers became scarcer as the number of inquiries increased. The scariest part was that, because silence is more powerful than words in controversies like this one. However, if there was one in actuality, it was this. There would never be the same Harris legacy. The world had witnessed too much, regardless of King's survival in this nightmare. The glitzy automobiles, the music videos, and the reality TV smiles had all been replaced with scars, rumors, and anxiety. Perhaps that was the purpose. Because if King's last remarks were accurate and this wasn't about him at all, then someone wanted to make sure T knew it. You are not impervious to harm. The world waits now. Is King Harris going to survive? Will T find the source of the leaks? Or has the dynasty of one of the most well-known families in hip-hop already been irreparably destroyed? There is no doubt that this story is far from over. Here we are then. How do you even comprehend anything like that? From an uncontrollably heated altercation in jail to footage that was leaked and not intended